All right, we are live again. Here we are, 2 o'clock, and I'm actually very honored. We have a really a high-powered wrestling coach in our country. He was a three-time Florida State finalist, two-time state champ, two-time outstanding wrestler in the state of Florida, four-time freestyle All-American. He wrestled at the Oklahoma State, where he was a Big 12 champion, an NCAA All-American, a FILA freestyle national champion, a world team member. 14 years he spent at the Citadel helping grow that program. And now he's the head coach at national powerhouse Woodward Academy over in Georgia. 4 state titles under his belt already while he was there. And I'm absolutely honored to have you, Coach Jeff Ragan. Thank you so much for coming on, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And I did that all in one breath, I think.
That was impressive.
Yeah, there was so much more, but I had to we'd be here for a while. You definitely have had a very respectable career, and not just in your wrestling career, but giving back as well. So obviously it's amazing what you're doing. Talk about, obviously, this change of circumstances. We've been kind of through a stay-at-home plan, and we're starting to get open up. Are you starting to see Georgia open up a little bit as well?
Yeah, I feel like we're heading that direction. We've spent the last, I think, for the month of April and May and some of March, we were doing 4 days a week with some of my assistant coaches and myself doing Zoom workouts. And it was great to have, 24 or so guys on any given day and gals on these calls doing the runs and the CrossFit and all that stuff. And now we're doing 3 days a week with lifting. So we're staying at it, but, some kids have wrestling facilities in their basements and they're still getting workouts in at their garage for wrestling. But I'm excited that when we're going to get all the kids together, because that's what I love about our team. We've got such a tight knit team and the community's so supportive. I just want to get them all together again, so I'm looking forward to that coming up hopefully in July. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And speaking to a lot of coaches, because I've spoke to a few during this stay-at-home thing, and they don't miss the wrestling as much as they miss the kids, which is amazing.
Right.
Like just the kids being in their office, sitting there doing homework, asking them questions, just the energy of having their kids around them is what it seems like a lot of the coaches miss first. So that speaks loud about what you guys do. So amazing there. So Woodward Academy, man, you were at Citadel college level for many, many, many years. You decided to transition. You had many, many offers from high-end colleges and high schools around the nation. You chose Woodward Academy in Georgia. Talk about why you did that. Now the program that you have, you're building 4 state titles. Talk about your program, why kids should be there.
Well, my philosophy was more or less, I think, borrowed from my dad, who was a longtime coach in Florida. And he built state champion level kids that go off to wrestle in college, like one of the kids you interviewed last week, Mike Schick, was very successful and sent several other people to college, including myself, to Oklahoma State. But I felt like in that little pocket, he was trying to build something and grow the sport. And I thought maybe I could build it at a level to where I could grow the entire Southeast, and not just the town of Englewood or the state of Florida, but if I could recruit kids from in the South rather than the Southeast, like myself, they could be very successful, and then they could go back to their hometowns and they could make those programs successful and just continue to pay it forward. And so I started that at the Citadel, where it was a school that allowed me to be a full-time math professor, as well as the associated wrestling coach, eventually, and watching that grow and build that from, a program that I think the year before I got there was 2-11-2 to my last couple of years having multiple All-Americans and top 25 finishes, the NCAAs. That was something special, and kids from all over the Southeast and around the country, around the world, actually. But I felt like watching my kids grow up, and as you mentioned, that connection with the kids, you want that connection with your own kids as well. And I wanted to be able to be there for my kids. And I had a few of my doctors more or less tell me I should probably scale it back a little bit. Had a few run-ins with, death, so to speak, 6 surgeries, 2 years of dialysis, a kidney transplant, a lot of different crazy things that happen. And I started to see things from a perspective of, I really want to be able to teach my own kids, and I want to be able to coach my own kids, and I want to be able to spend more time with my kids. So I kind of was hitting a crossroads, and I kind of made a decision one day at Citadel after having another, amazing finish, another All-American, and just feeling like I wanted to go somewhere that the administration supported me and where the community supported us. And I get this phone call, driving back, and it was Woodward Academy, and there's some amazing people down here in Atlanta. I've known Atlanta and a lot of schools in Georgia for 14 years because I was doing camps down in Georgia and in Florida and Southeast. So they had brought their whole bus, or 2 buses actually, up to one of my camps I did in Charleston. So I knew them, but when they called me, I'd already kind of made up my mind. I'm done. I'm finding a place where it's going to be a good fit for both me and my family. And they called, and it was just an amazing kind of turn of events where it worked out. And I thought, I can really do this, spend more time with my kids. And of course I live 100 yards from the school, so I can walk my kids to school and I see them every day, and that's great. But where I can really build something special. So they kind of gave me the resources. They had the means and the facilities to really do what I've always wanted to do. And it doesn't matter whether it's a Division I or if it's working with middle school kids. I went from being a full-time math professor to teaching middle school math. And to me, I get more out of teaching 7th and 8th graders, watching a light bulb go off, than teaching civil engineers and electrical engineers when they're 21 or 22, how to build a bridge or how to do multivariable calculus. So again, it's not the level, it's the impact that you can make. And so I felt the same way about wrestling. We had a youth club in Charleston Wrestling Club, and I would, watch all these great wrestlers go off to Division I and be successful in Nebraska, at OU, at other schools around the Northeast, and to watch them be successful from the time they were 6 years old, that was something special. So I enjoyed that. And so for me to be able to do this was really, really cool. And it's taken, 6 seasons, but we're doing it the right way. And we're building it from, the ground up. We had amazing people in place to help us, really do something special. But one of my first things was let's get the best coaches in the country that we can get a hold of. And I feel like we're a Division I college room right now with our $1.5 million gym and facility and wrestling room that is gorgeous, brand new facilities, that weight room and wrestling room that I've had college coaches come in and say, wow, this is one of the nicest D1 rooms I've seen in your high school. I said, well, we're the largest college preparatory school in the country, but yes, we are not a Division I program, but we are blessed with have great facilities and great resources. But bringing in all of my coaching staff at the high school level, all Division I college coaches that wrestled at Edinburgh, 2 of them wrestled at University of North Carolina, Greensboro, when they had a program in the Southern Conference, wrestled for West Point. Some of them wrestled in the Northeast. Some of them are coaching at my middle school. One of them is Anthony Rivera, pretty much my head assistant coach, high-level MMA guy, probably, one of the toughest guys I know, rolls with my guys every day, trains with the American top team. I see him as a prospect UFC fighter, and he's training with world champions and Bellator and UFC guys every day. And then he comes to my room, he goes with my number 1 ranked guys in the country and goes and bangs with them. So to have those guys that are young and hungry and hardworking coming right out of college and helping out with our programs just made it even better. But I'm excited about the direction we're going. I'm excited about the support that we have, and I'm excited about what we've been able to do in the short amount of time. I guess it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to be a part of. So,
Man, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, when I released that you were coming on, obviously you're well known in the community. I got a lot of great feedback. You probably saw on Facebook. So I was I was glad for that, because anytime people get excited, it's good. I'm doing the right thing. And you have, did you mention, do you have girls there?
We just started having girls this past year. I've got an assistant that we brought in. His name's Coach Harden, and he has won 4 state titles in 6 state titles amongst 4 programs. And he is kind of like what you'd call like the Pied Piper of wrestling. His enthusiasm and excitement is infectious. And he came in, and when he came to, and again, he was coaching down in Florida and in Georgia, back and forth, so he's known in both communities. When he came on board to coach with me, kind of just seeing what we really wanted to do, and we saw eye to eye in our philosophy. Mine was, we're not champions because we win because we're champions, and I wanted to build champions, kind of like what my dad did, and that was his philosophy. He kind of made it a little bit better to even just say, we're going to have a simple motto of program, team, individual, PTI. So we have those two mottos, and they work hand in hand. If we're doing everything and the kids are doing everything, which is for the program first, and then for the team second, and then the individual comes last, the parents are on board with that, the kids are on board with that. It really builds a community where there's not ego, there's not levels. Whether my kid's ranked #1 in the country, Matthew Singleton, for 160 for all freshmen sophomores, he's just as kind and gracious to my JV first year guys as he is to guys that he wants to kill when they step on the mat and go across from him. So he's an amazing kid, and Michael Kilic, my Fargo national champion, you would know that he's one of the top kids in the country, just because the way he treats his teammates and with respect, and my parents, that they're all on board with that. So that program, team, individual, and that building champions first philosophy came really, really well. But what I knew what needed to happen was we needed to build the program from the grassroots, and he was a huge support, proponent of the idea. We need to build it, with the youth. So we have a Hall of Fame coach who, 4-time state champion, undefeated, wrestled D1, and longtime coach Pete Fritz Jr. And he's down in the middle school, and then Hardin went down there, and in a matter of a couple of years, they've got it to like 60 plus kids, just gnawing at the bit to get on the mats, and parents excited about it. And girls, there's 5 or 6 girls that just were, they're just hammers, and we're excited to have them on board. We're going to have a couple in the high school next year. And our numbers in the high school, if everybody from 8th grade comes back, and all of our high school kids come back, and the kids that are moving in and coming from around the country to join our program and around the state, we're going to have over 50 kids in the high school. We're going to have over 60 kids in the middle school. And we've got over a dozen kids in the lower school. And I have kids that I coached at the Citadel that are moving down here to Atlanta, 2 doors down from me, and they're sending their son to wrestling. He's in 2nd grade, So it's fun to see the young kids getting excited. But when you can get a program like that, grassroots movement, everyone on the same page, with the same mission, it's exciting what you can do. So I'm really excited about kind of what we're doing here at Woodward Academy. So
That's awesome. We'll talk about Team Georgia. I know that you're very close with Team Georgia. You coach on Team Georgia. It's something that you've been building. How's that coming?
So as your one of your people you had an early stage, Chuck. Chuck's a good guy. I've known him for a long time. But it takes a village, and I came on board. Obviously, I'd done over a dozen years with Team South Carolina, maybe a little bit less organized, I think, than what I think Georgia had. So when I came on board, they had a board, and they had people all with the right mission. And I just said, how can I help? And strangely enough, the first year, they were like, can you help raise money? And I'm like, well, it's not really my cup of tea, but sure. I can have a degree in math and maybe a few of them. So raising over almost $60,000 to help, grow the sport, seeing the parents' involvement and how everyone's on the same page. And then I just, I said, how can I help the next year? Because again, my philosophy is, how can I grow the sport? How can I, grow the sport of wrestling and build it from whatever level? And they said, well, no one seems to want to do this age group, this middle school age group. And as Chuck said, we have Team Minion, and a lot of the parents who knew who I was already, knew maybe some of my accolades, been to some of my camps, they were on board with the idea, like, we don't have to be Team Minion and Team Georgia. We can just be Team Georgia. We can be one state when it comes to freestyle greco, and we can work together. And so that first year we brought some hammers, and we did really well. And I said, if we can get everybody out here and we can get everyone on board, we can do some really special things. You know, with good coaching staff and with great parents and great cheerleaders, like Level Up, you know, Donovan Pannone is probably one of the great organizer, and really, really good about just doing it for the sport. And, you know, he was an amazing parent and coach to have on board. And we were able to bring a full team and, you know, winning greco, schoolboy nationals, getting second at freestyle by a couple of points. And I had half my team in slings and injured up because we only brought one at every weight. Of course, Illinois brought like 60. So they were ready and fresh and whatever it was. But, you know, we were just excited to show the country, like, look what we can do, not just in folk style, not just in minions, but year round. And my experience, fortunately, to have a guy like John Smith as my coach and learning from the best in freestyle and getting to spend summers at the Olympic Training Center and go abroad and compete and at the highest level, I was able to give that back. I was able to share some of the things that I've learned, and both other great coaches. One that's at Life University, Christian Flavin. He helped out, you know, as with the greco side of things. I did the freestyle side of things, and we did amazing things. And those same group of kids, I followed them up through cadets and got third and fourth in freestyle and greco 2 summers ago out in Washington. We had the best finish we'd ever had in the history of Georgia with Fargo again last summer. Heck, I guess this COVID-19 just saved the rest of the people from just seeing how tough we were really going to be when we came back this summer. But you know, we're changing the dynamics. We're really building something special. And I think the rest of the country, even though I'm friends with a lot of these D1 coaches and I work with these D1 coaches, they're starting to see, wow, these Georgia kids are legit. And so when they see a kid or they call me up and say, hey, how good's this kid really? And I'm like, I'm telling you, man, this guy, if you're not recruiting him, you're missing out. And we've sent in the last 2 years, kids to the Naval Academy, 2 kids at UPENN, 1 kid to Princeton, 1 kid to Columbia, all amazing kids, some of which I had in my 7th grade math class, and just got them excited about, you know, going and reaching for the sky. 2 of them are going to American, not to wrestle, but just because that's where they want to be. Georgia Tech to be engineers, some of the finest schools. But the ones I named first, those kids are all off their wrestling at those schools, and they're all going and getting great degrees, and watching them develop from a 7th grade, never wrestled before maybe, and said, you know, if you work hard and you buy into being a great student athlete and being a champion, you know, the sky's the limit. And so watching that happen in my own little bubble at Woodward Academy, but also watching those young kids in Team Georgia grow and believe in themselves and have that confidence, and now seeing them at all these other schools around Georgia being successful, it's a really cool thing. And it takes a village, but I'm just proud to be a part of all these clubs, whether it be, you know, the Compound and Morris Fitness or Level Up, or I don't want to leave anybody out, but you know, there's so many of them down south, the south side, north side. Nap's got a, you know, I guess Nap and Fretwell's a Compound, and I don't want to leave anybody out because they're all great and they're all being part of this. Yates, those guys are working together. Terry Allison, I mean, they're all doing good things, and I'm just happy to be a part of it. I'm excited that Georgia's all on the same page about what's best for the kids. And that's what I'm excited that I get to, you know, help with. So
That's excuse me. And that's amazing. First of all, how did you leave the city of Charleston? That's such a great town.
Well, I'm from Florida, so I'm used to the beach and I'm used to and all that stuff. So I guess technically it was good, but you know, a lot of factors, you know, at the end of the day, my own brother, he went to the Citadel, he, you know, went in the Air Force, and now he's a pilot for Delta. And, you know, I've seen a lot of good things come out of that, but, you know, I just feel like, you know, it really comes down to support, and Team Georgia supports the kids. And I feel like I can do more instead of just having my own club with Charleston Wrestling Club, where we would have to go to Fargo and we have to write an S with a Sharpie on our singlets because South Carolina didn't even buy us singlets that said South Carolina. So we had to put an S so they didn't get, you know, didn't have to wear a different singlet. And we finished top 10 at Fargo with just our club, which is incredible. But on top of that, you know, with the support of the state, with the support of the administration, that's a big thing. And I wasn't getting that where I was at, and I'm getting that where I'm at. And I'm not going to badmouth anything.
Hey, Georgia's a beautiful place too.
It is. And,
I love it there.
two of the guys that won state titles at Woodward Academy, Bubba and Dan Cathy, they own Chick-fil-A, and they're amazing people. And they wanted to see wrestling program and the athletics and Woodward Academy, shine. And just good people in our alumni that support our program and want us to get better. One of my wrestlerettes, is her grandfather owned the Falcons, and it was amazing just to sort of have the kind of people that could really make a difference. And so I feel like Georgia is a great place to move to, and a great community, and in terms of economy, doing great. So of course, people moving in from all over the country because of the great economy, because of some of the things that we're doing. And it just so happens that we have the best of both worlds. We have one of the largest college preparatory school, the most diverse college preparatory school, and one of the most prestigious and academically, I think, challenging, but yet rewarding schools in the country. And we're doing all that at a Division I level with all Division I coaches, and an amazing support staff, middle school and high school. And we're doing that with the support of our administration, the support of our parents. And I can't say enough about how of a change that is, because when you're giving of yourself and selflessly, all these coaches do, it's amazing just to have that support, to not come home from the NCAAs and find out that they're going to drop your budget by 20% and give you football or whatever. I mean, Woodward just wants to support our program and wants to support what we're doing, and the parents want to support it. So at least I'm somewhere where I feel like I can really make a difference, which is what I've always wanted to do, as I said at the very beginning, what my dad did, but I'm gonna do it on a larger scale. And now I thought I was going to do it really well at Still, and I did. And I brought a program that I thought, maybe no one had ever heard of, to a top, premier program. And now I'm trying to do the same thing, but at Woodward, where I'm sending all these guys to D1, helping these kids that aren't in my school to go D1, and then they can come back and make Georgia even better. So I feel like I'm still doing the same thing, just at a different way.
That's awesome. And so we have a few, let's see here. We've got James Phillips said, looking good, Jeff. Marcus Paradon, Coach Ragan recruited my older son to the Citadel. He is a totally first-class guy. Chuck Morris said, Matt Pitts at the Grindhouse also.
Right, Matt Pitts. And actually we wrestled against him in his UTC. I felt terrible that I missed names, but I mean, these are guys that we wrestled against each other back in college, and then they're doing good things. And again, it's just watching the sport grow. And the crazy thing about right now, and I'm so grateful that you had me on, was every summer since probably the year 1998, 1999, when I wasn't, training or Olympic Training Center or around the world trying to compete, I was doing camps, and this is like the first summer that this past 3 days, I was camping in the woods with Tennessee with all the guys in our family, and tents and fire pits and whatever. But, the cool thing about the camp aspect, and that I've done for over 20 years.
Yeah, I was going to ask you next to talk about Jeff Ragan camps and how it's helped Southeast Wrestling, and talk about obviously your camp. So go ahead.
Well, I brought that up because that's how I got to know Morris, and that's how I got to know Paradon. That's how I got to know Phillips. Those kids came to my camps, whether I did a camp in California for Temecula, or did a camp on Ellis Island, in South Carolina, doing camps in South Carolina. But whether I'm doing camps all the way up to DC with kids that I recruited back out of high school, and now they're coaches, and I'm helping those guys, watching them in college, Midwest coaches, camps at colleges, West Coast, East Coast, Louisiana, Florida, Georgia. You get to know these guys, and so it made it so much easier of a transition for me. I always thought the world of referees and coaches, because my dad was a ref, and my dad was a coach. But when you work with all these programs and you see them develop, whether it was and we'll talk about here in just a second, I'm sure. But the knockout, I worked with Coach Trivet and Coach Bird for years, going down doing camps for that school. And so it was a no-brainer to I know you do a great job, and you're a class act, and you're an AD, and you've got a great camp or program, a great wrestling tournament. I'm gonna go down to that. And Brandon High School and all these other amazing programs and their dynasties, and just being a part of that and watching those kids develop all over the Southeast. It's a great way for me to do that. So when you mentioned the shout out, I'm like, yeah, I miss seeing all those guys, but
there's more coming.
Yeah.
Hennenbaugh said Gerald Carr at the Storm. James Phillips said Trey Travis at Complex. So George is getting their shout outs right now, and that's a great thing. And talk about that. I mean, you've obviously grown Southeast Wrestling. You've been around Southeast Wrestling since you were a little boy. And you ended off at Oklahoma State, man. What kind of experience was that to go from high school? And obviously you were very good in high school. You got a couple of state championships under your belt. But what's that transition like, going from being a great high school wrestler to a program like that where you're just another person in the room? What's the transition like, and experience and next level?
It was unique. I hope that I can do a better job, preparing kids for that level, that jump, both academically and athletically. And I think, having a room full of the best coaches we can get, and a great academic thing going at Woodward Academy, it makes that transition to Ivy League schools, some of the top schools, that much better. And being in a room with tough kids every day, you go to college and you don't just get punched in the mouth and give up. But there are rare kids out there that, like me, that just could care less. They said, and people told me, you'll never start at Oklahoma State. You'll never, you're just from Florida, and back then 1 or 2 kids would come from Georgia every year, and wrestle. Bono, I think, went and wrestled, and myself and Jared Frere, we all kind of came from the same couple of years. It was like 1 good kid a year, 1 All-American a year. And I walked onto that program because they were the top program in the country. And I said, well, I'm going to go wrestle for them. I made myself the best in Florida. I can be the best in the country. And I walked on, and I'm telling you, John Smith was a great mentor. He saw my work ethic. I think, as a matter of fact, when I got the most determined award, or OW award, my senior year, he said, you never even missed a single day of practice in 5 years. I don't know how that's possible. I'm like, well, I didn't want to miss out on getting better, So I think that being part of something like that, and just saying, I'm going to be the best coach I can be someday, and I'm going to learn from the best every day and take advantage of every opportunity. And being part of a program where we didn't lose a single duel for 5 years, 78 or 79 consecutive matches without a loss or win, or loss or tie. It was amazing to be a part of that, and great people, and to watch so many of those great teammates of mine, whether it be Pat Popolizio, who was a student of mine, because I taught at Oklahoma State too, while I was a wrestler. He's doing great things at NC State. Teague Moore's doing great things at American. Munoz is doing great things on the West Coast with his fighting and UFC stuff and training. And Cormier, just what he's doing is on fire. And just to watch all of those teammates have done great things, because when you're part of something special, when you're part of an amazing program, you're part of a team, those kids, we've all just seen, it's been great to see them all go out and blossom. So it was a great opportunity, a great adventure for me to be a part of. And I still am reaping the benefits of being part of that amazing group of guys. But I like to see those guys, and almost everyone's doing coaching somewhere. Hardell Moore's got a great program in Oklahoma, and the list goes on of what those guys are doing all around the country and giving back to the sport. Because when you're part of something that special, you want to give back. So,
yeah, it's amazing hearing that too. I had Bracken Mead on last week, who's he's an assistant at a high school coach at a high school, his alma mater now, and he's working with Palmer Trained. And he said, I could have wrestled somewhere else, but my dream was to go to Ohio State, and I got the opportunity to do that and wear their singlet, and that meant more to me than going somewhere and being like a 4-year starter or doing something like that. And it's amazing to hear that sometimes. I mean, part of this show is, hey, go to college and wrestle, and that's okay. And it's okay if you do it at Oklahoma State, or you do it at a junior college. Go get your education and wrestle and set yourself up for the next 40 years. And that's awesome. But, one of the things I really wanted to ask you is you're one of those big time programs that has come down and helped build the Knockout, which is one of those big tournaments we have here. Now, from what I've been hearing from all the guys I've had on, is this thing has grown to be like maybe the biggest tournament in the Southeast, or the toughest. how close are they, and what's next for that tournament to be, where people from all over the country are now saying, hey, that's a destination at Christmas time?
I think it's interesting. Everything evolves in a way. It's got to be the right date. It's got to be the right program. I would say going all the way to the West Coast and wrestling in the Doc B, and of course, having a coach that I'm friends with because we're on a FILA World team together, who's organized that, and it's grown leaps and bounds. Where they were 5 years ago and where they are now, it's a completely different thing. It's involved in an animal where almost every kid that placed was ranked top 5, top 10 in the country. Kids that were ranked 1, 2, or 3 didn't even place or place in the top 3 or 4. I think that's where this is going. And again, doing camps with Coach Bird, Kisemi Osceola, even back when his son was wrestling, and so many kids that I've watched him grow that program. I know he's going to grow this tournament like he's growing the program. Coach Cash, working with his program and just hearing about it, I was like, all right, well, I'm excited. You guys, I know what you've done to your programs. I'm sure you'll do the same thing to your to your tournament. And every single year, the tougher it gets, the more people hear about it, the more people want to come. We plan on going back, and we plan on doing tournaments in 5 or 6, 7 or 8 states like we did last year, and helping our kids get better, because we want our kids to get the best competition. We want our kids to get recognized at the highest level. Again, today is June 15th. I got 2 guys that are national champions, Matthew Singleton and Michael Kilic. Those guys are getting calls left and right today, but they're getting those calls because they were able to win or place high at the Doc B or win the knockout. And when you go to those tournaments, you want to go to the tournaments where you're getting the best competition, and then that attracts more college coaches. Because I know when I was a college coach, I wanted to go to the top tournaments. So I think they're doing a good job, and I think it's going to continue to get better. So I'm excited about it.
It was amazing. I just went as a visitor this year, so my son could see that tournament as a spectator. And I walked in, and there was App State, Campbell, LifeU, you name it. Mm-hmm. These recruiters were all in there, and that's big time, man. And it's just good to see a Florida tournament growing like that, and that's awesome. And so I got some 10 questions for you. First of all, before I get into the 10 questions, Coach, is there anything that you wanted to speak about that maybe I missed or I didn't ask you about? Is there anybody or any platform that you wanted to discuss? I just want to make sure that you were able to get your voice heard on the subjects you wanted to be heard on.
Look, I wanted to give a shout out to what we're doing with Team Georgia, and how proud I am to be a part of that organization, and what all those clubs that are sprouting out all over Georgia are doing. Again, part of this village. I'm happy to be a part of that. We have our own little club, Red Storm, but again, our club is ultimately for our kids in our area. But we're doing the right things, and everyone's doing it selflessly, and I'm excited about being part of that. What we're doing at Woodward Academy is a great opportunity for people to come and wrestle, and we hope to keep growing it. I know it's attracting people from around the country that are moving down here, so we're excited about that. The camp thing, I was just so excited through the camps to meet so many amazing people that I see every day now as coaches, watching what they're doing. Obviously, this COVID-19 has kind of put me in a weird position, but I'm using the silver lining to spend more time with my family and my kids. I think I'll probably have some camps in July in Virginia, in Louisiana, in Georgia, in Florida. So I'm trying to work those things out right now. I guess, if people want to try to do it and they feel safe and they feel like we can pull this off in July and August, they can reach out to me. Otherwise, I'm going to stick to my normal teams that I go with and try to get them fit in here at the end of summer. But outside all that, I'm just happy to get an opportunity to talk about what we're doing and how proud I am of the coaches that I have on staff, the parents that are working with me, my administration that's making this really happen, and the program that is blossoming from all the hard work of so many people. So I think I got it all in, and I appreciate you letting me get a sound box for that. So
yeah, and let me know when you figure out the dates and you get everything together on your camps. Let me know. Just shoot me a message, and we'll come on before the show start, or we'll come on at 5:30, and we'll shout out your camps, get your dates out there, get people knowing what's going on. I have no problem with that. So you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, pecan pie or pecan cake?
Just the pecans on the pecan pie.
Just the pecans. Yeah, that's the best part, right?
But yeah.
Savannah or Amelia Island?
Amelia Island.
So Atlanta is a Coca-Cola town. Are you going regular Coke or cherry Coke?
As long as it's not Beverly from
Peach cobbler or peach crisp?
you know what? They both have to have ice cream. Then I can a la mode, baby.
You're from Florida, but most of your life you've been up there. You going Florida beaches or Georgia beaches?
Gulf Coast beaches.
I like them too. Disney duels or national duels?
National duels.
What do I have here? Georgia Aquarium or Atlanta Zoo?
Georgia Aquarium. Largest body, like I think some record of more gallons of water than any aquarium in the world. So it's pretty incredible. So.
It was incredible. I got to see it once and I enjoyed it. Helen, Georgia or Blue Ridge?
Blue Ridge. Gorgeous.
Love it there. Braves or Falcons?
Can I say Atlanta United? Whoop, whoop.
Yes.
Just saying.
The
team that won a national title last few years, so I'm just going to say Atlanta Falcons.
I love it. Okay, last but not least, I know you're an Oklahoma State guy, but Iowa's pretty stacked right now. Are you going Iowa or the field next year?
I'm going to say the field. I love what they're doing in Iowa, but this last year was their year. I think Penn State's rested everybody up. Oklahoma State's bringing everybody back. It's good. Iowa's going to be tough to hang on to that top spot. So.
Nice. Hey, and I like it. I like it. They're going out on a limb. Everybody else takes the easy route and picks Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
I like you went the field.
I'm an Oklahoma State alum. I always have to vote against Iowa, but I respect what they're doing. So I'm going to say that I'm going to give the field a shot. So there you go.
I love it. Hey, Coach, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. I hope one day that I get to meet you in person, maybe have my kid at one of your camps. And good luck with your year, your summer. And yeah, let me know if you're throwing out some camp dates. We can get on and shout them out. And please feel free to share this with whatever platform you want. And I love all the wrestling coaches and what they're doing for kids. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great summer.
You too.